and I'm excited to be back here, season 2. I can't believe that season 1 has come and gone, and now we are back with season 2. So, as you know, this is where we empower women to walk boldly in purpose, confidence, and financial freedom, no matter the stage of life that you're at. As always, I'm your host, Dora Ola, and today we are talking to every woman who's ever wondered, do I still have what it takes? Spoiler alert, yes, actually. Um, Research has shown that the 40s and beyond is actually where you live your most fulfilling years, and I can list examples of women that are killing it in their 40s. Talk about more Abudu in the entertainment sector. Talk about Oprah. Oprah actually didn't actually make it until she was actually in her 40s. And we can go on and on about women who are actually killing it in their 40s. Today, I have with me a special guest, someone who is actually very dear to my heart. And I've seen her journey over the last years. And she might not look it. She's actually in her 50s. But today with me, I have Mrs. Atinuke Adeboye. And our episode is titled You Still Got It, Embracing Your Voice, Value, and Vision in Midlife. Welcome, Atinuke. How are you doing today?
Oh, I'm doing great, and thank you so much for having me, Delapo. And it's a great thing you're doing here. This podcast is actually I've been blessed. It has really impacted me in this season 1, so I can't wait to be part of season 2.
Thanks for actually indulging me. I know you're very busy and I actually strong calmed you to be here. But it's only me that can strong calm me, you know me.
Absolutely.
So today we're gonna start. Can you kind of like share a little about your journey and what led you to kind of like embrace your 40s as a season of growth? I know that it was in your 40s that you decided to like change career, pivot, invested in a lot of courses. So if you can just tell us like, okay, so what was motivation to actually taking that decision in your 40s, and tell us a little bit about your journey even before you got to your 40s when you decided to make that decision.
Thank you for that question. In my 30s, I've been always on the go mood, you know. Have been on the go trying to, build my career, raise my family, help everyone else other than myself. I've, been everywhere. However, when I was getting to 40, preparing for my 40th birthday, this what they say is life begins at 40. So I was like, okay, I have to think about this. What does it really mean when they say life begins at 40? And then I realized that, look, I need to start looking into my finance, my health, my time, boundaries, setting boundaries. Because I noticed that those are the areas I've really neglected because I felt I'm very busy, I'm productive, I have children I'm taking care of, I'm doing a job, I'm doing all this, I have a family, but not really thinking of who am I? What do I want to be? How do I want to be perceived? So I was able to sit down and look at those areas. So that's where my journey starts from. I start thinking of how can I improve more on myself to be authentic, to be my authentic self, not just to be in the stereotype that's being, portrayed out there about women after 40. Yes, they say life begins at 40, but you still realize that it still makes some people to just be stagnant and be stuck in a place. So that's how my journey comes in. And I started looking at what I'm interested in, what I can do better, and how I can impact others around me. And one thing I make sure I did is never ever accept anybody's projection over me.
That's good to know. I know that you actually, in your 40s, decided to like switch kind of a career. It's one of the things that women struggle with, especially um, depending on the phase of life that they actually find themselves in. Children sometimes can be kind of like a big excuse for you not to make some certain decisions, even like financially. And I know that you've raised like 3 kind of like beautiful children. Um, and fair play to you. I know that you raised them alone and you sent them to private school. I know that you invested in their education, which is one of the things that I actually really love about you. But I also know that you pivoted from finance into tech at within the ages of 40 and 50.
Absolutely.
So walk my viewers through what were the things that you did to actually pivot your career from going from being a financial advisor into building a successful career in tech. Like, what were the sacrifices that you had to make? What were the courses that you had to do? Because one of the things with women as well, when we've been, I mean, I've seen it with my mom as well, having given all our life to kind of like making sure that our children are okay.
Yeah.
And then they get to that point where they're like, okay, my children have graduated, I retired, and there's really nothing left for me. It's funny because my producer and I, we were having a conversation about our mom in church. I think it was last week or 2 weeks ago, and she was saying about how our mom is now out there like advising people. And I was like, yeah, let the woman enjoy her life after all. You understand? Like, life can begin at any age. So I know you did that switch in the 40s and you decided, okay, no, I was going to go into a tech career. So walk my viewers what you did, because I'm sure there's so many people thinking, okay, I want to pivot. Is it too late for me to pivot? Is it too late for me to kind of like do a change in career? So it'll be good for you to what exactly you did, why you did it, and also empower. How can they empower themselves to actually make this kind of like choices?
I really like that question because that's one of my core areas when I talk to women, especially. Most of the time, okay, one of the things that helped me is being able to identify myself when I got into my 40s, being able to realize that I either settle or set a pace for my next decade and decades to come. And that helps me to actually look inward at what do I really enjoy doing. And aside that, we're talking about money as well. My time, what can I use my time for that will give me more income rather than just, doing what I'm doing at the moment? And that's one area I want women in their 40s or younger to really look into. There are different phases of life. And sometimes you are in a certain career for a certain period of time. It's important to understand that. And when you now have the opportunity based on your plan, on your goals, you need to pivot. And that is what I did. Aside finance, I've been in different career.
I know.
I've been in health, I've been in, not to mention it, but that's one thing that keeps me going. I always evaluate my season and I look at what I need to do better. Pivoting into tech, it doesn't really come by surprise. It comes by planning, as I said. And as I said, the season of life. I realized that, and this happens to so many women, you are in an environment, in an organization, in a career, and you're even doing better than, maybe your male counterpart. And you just realize that it's still very difficult to move on because it looks as if you're stuck. And one of the things we can do, if we cannot break through in that particular place, we need to look at other areas that we can go into. As a woman over 40, you have the experience, you have your wins, your mistakes, you have everything going for you. You have all the information that you need. It's just left for you to now know how to, relate that to where you want to go to. For me, I had to do so many boot camps. I had to do certifications. I have to do training, and I have to get a coach. My coach, this is my coach sitting out here.
So if you're wondering how I know so much, if you see me on the street, she actually calls me my coach. Actually she embarrasses me, but that's a different issue. Yeah, so which is why I'm privy to kind of like her journey, and she's actually one person that I actually dust my heart for, as in how, I mean, there's some things that I probably can't even say on this podcast, but I actually met her. I used to run a education franchise called Kumon. Our children were one of the first students that actually walked into my door and actually enrolled, and that's actually how we met, and we kind of like built. It's funny how um, we built a relationship from there, and then at some point we discovered that we actually belong to the same church community, and then she's very close to one of the people that helped raise my boys. Some people will call her my boy's nanny, but she is more than a nanny to them. That in short, my boys just graduated from primary school going into secondary school. The principal of their primary school said, "No, this is actually the mother of the boys, not even the mom." And so I'm really, really privy to like kind of like a journey. That's why I can actually ask her. So I'm sure there's some questions I'm going to ask her. She's kind of like, but yeah, I'm the only one that has that privilege. To be honest, I know you did all those certifications, did all those boot camps, invested in like all of that before you now got your first job in tech. And I've actually sent a few people her way to kind of like help me tell them, because sometimes when people want to pivot, even people that are so much younger, I've had younger people come to me and say, "Oh, I want to go into tech." One of the first person that always comes to my mind to send them to is actually you. One, because I know that you're very real, you're going to tell them the truth, and also seeing you go through that journey at an age where a lot of people kind of like just settle is actually an amazing thing to do and a testament to kind of like your career.
Thank you.
Now, what advice would you give to women who feel like kind of like invisible in their career or kind of like their personal life? Because that's one thing with women as well. Apart from the fact that, and these are some of the things that we touched on in season one, like women can actually make themselves be invisible. So there's one thing um to people making you feel invisible as a woman and feel like you don't have a voice. But there's also the thing that sometimes we women actually at the cost of our own invisibility, we tend to shrink.
Absolutely.
When we are kind of like faced in, I mean, when we are faced with different kind of like challenges, especially in the workplace, we don't want to be confrontational because we don't want to be seen as an angry woman and all of that.
Absolutely.
So for me, what advice would you give to someone who feels like invisible in their career or their business life or even in their personal life?
Firstly, I would say you're not alone. Okay. Any woman in that category at the moment, please, you're not alone. This happens to everyone and at different stage of life. Okay. So if you feel invisible in your personal life, your career, wherever you are, it's just important for you to take a step back. And I believe in evaluation. That's one thing women will lack to do. We're just on the go, being productive. We don't
Very
sit
busy.
back, very, very busy. We don't sit back and look at, okay, how far have I come? How can I realign myself? What do I need to do? It's very, very discouraging to be invisible because I know as women, we have what it takes. We have the skills, we have, you know, the commitment, we have everything that it takes. But for example, in career, let's say in the organization, and you're trying all your best to get noticed, to get known, but it looks as if nobody's listening to you. Please, what I will encourage you is don't wait for permission from anybody. And that is one of the things I do. I started talking about things I care more about. I talk about finance. I put myself out there on social media. I reach out to people that I know that can support me and can help me. I get a coach just as I got you as a coach. So you have to do something. You know, try doing what you feel uncomfortable to do, but will help you to be yourself. Try making yourself, don't wait for anybody to give you permission before you contribute. If you are in a meeting, make your contribution. Don't let anybody talk you down. First time, second time, it may be uncomfortable or inconvenient, but this what they say is practice makes perfect. Before you know it, you come out of obscurity and you will be visible. Go on social media, put on your perspectives of whatever you think of. Start telling people about what you care more about, and start branding yourself. Branding also helps you to become visible to others. So those are my ideas, advice for you.
I mean, as you guys know, on this podcast, we talk about how you can build wealth, how you can begin to build legacies, how we can kind of like empower you. And she's kind of like touched on so many things, to be honest. She's talked about the fact that you need to be bold. And to actually build wealth, it actually takes boldness because it involves like taking risks. And for you to kind of like take risks, that means you need to be bold. Second of all, you shouldn't be afraid to fail. With a lot of us, we allow our fears to actually hold us back.
Yes.
Oh, what if people have it was the first time? What if I get it wrong?
What will they say?
What will they say? And I always say to people, allow yourself to actually get it wrong. You need to fail the first time, fail the second time, fail the third time. But I suppose what I say to the people that I mentor, the people that I coach, is
You fail and you fail forward.
and you fail forward. And then you need to start seeing failure differently.
Yeah.
I always see failure as an opportunity to actually learn how to actually do things better. For every wealthy person out there that we look up to, for every wealthy person that we read their stories, they failed a million and one time.
Absolutely.
And it's one thing that I learned when I
And that's the part people don't look at.
exactly
They just look at the
as a
success.
success. I read a lot of autobiographies and I like to go straight to where they made mistakes, where they think that they failed, and then how they pivoted from that. And that is actually like really, really important. So my next question is how do you keep your vision fresh and exciting in midlife?
Okay. And I practically learned this from you as well. So I'm going to give it out. Yeah. I've talked about evaluation, but it's really looking at my vision board and realigning. At some people, they believe that once you have a vision board for a certain period of time, it's static, it's stagnant. That is what I don't do. I make sure because I have a smart goals that I've set, in aligning with the vision board, which is time bound. So getting towards the time, and I always try and see, okay, have I been able to achieve this? Am I actually in the right path? You need to keep realigning yourself every now and then. I cannot stop talking about realignment. Another tool I use is journaling. You know, when you journal, you'll be able to, put your thoughts together, and even through that process, new ideas come in.
Definitely.
You'll be able to see where you make mistake and what you can do better. So I use these two tools very, very, very well for myself, and I will encourage everyone to, use those tools as well. And let you know, the Lakwa is the queen of vision board. Okay, you can reach out to her for that.
Yeah, I think realizing is actually something that I always say to people, like your vision board, your plan, it should always be kind of like a living document. After you're a living being,
Absolutely.
do you understand? So
Absolutely.
because you're a living being, you're going to keep evolving. And where you thought you were, where you were when you were kind of like creating your vision board, 2 3 months down the line, a lot of
Things
times,
must have changed.
yeah, you're maybe already a different person as well, and then you've got fresh perspectives. So you go back to your vision board, you go back to your plan, and you kind of like, okay, you know what? Let's realign this vision board. Let's realign um this plan. I'm a very very big supporter of celebrating little wins, which is something that we women don't do.
Don't do.
If you realign yourself and do that realignment like every so often,
Yes.
you're actually able to actually now see how far you've come, no matter how little, and that can be
Pat yourself
motivation.
on the back.
Exactly, pat yourself on the back, motivation to kind of like keep going forward. Now, for you, you're the queen of starting new things, and by the way, right? This woman here took me on my first cruise. So if me that I hate water, she actually took me on my first cruise, and my mother, who gave back to me, actually hates water. My mother was like, in our ancestors did not go on water, but I mean, jokes apart, she actually encouraged me to actually go on my first cruise. So Tanika is one person that
it was my own first cruise as well.
Yeah, but then you're somebody that actually takes like she travels a lot. She doesn't have a problem with solo travel. But then one thing that I actually like about her, one of her key strengths, and I'm not sure if she's realized how much of a strength that is being able to bring people together.
Wow.
To actually do fun things. Funny enough, there are a lot of 50 and above year olds out there
Yes.
that don't do fun things. I actually think you should be
They've already retired
as the business to actually get people together to actually do like fun things and everything, to be honest with you. And that's actually part of like
actually, and that's a very good advice. At the start of this year, I set up a travel
group,
and a book club as well. And that's to actually encourage women of that level, that age group, and they are getting there. So
they actually travel. I just in that group, you might regardless of my age, because I'm special like that anyway. But then that's, I mean, kind of the things that we're trying to encourage women to do by this podcast, is in terms of building wealth, is that stepping out no matter what your age is, be it in your 40s and your 50s, trying new experiences,
life to the
living life
fullest.
to the fullest. And I mean, and then just be you.
There's no
By the time
time
you're
for
40 and
it.
50, I don't think you should even care about what people think about you.
It's
Or
not
what
bad. That's the thing.
Yeah,
That's your free time.
that's your free. And that's when you time
You have all the time in the world.
be who you want to be without apologizing to anybody.
No apologies. Yeah.
I also know you recently launched. Well, you haven't launched. Like we saying it, but yes, production and everything has gone into it.
Yeah.
She has used. So when we started, she talked about our health, reevaluating our health as well, and she has used our health as a stepping stone
Absolutely.
to actually launch another business.
I will talk about it. Yeah.
She set a launch date. And this is an example of it doesn't matter what age you are, you can build a business, you can start a business, you can begin to build wealth, you can begin to build kind of like a legacy.
Absolutely.
So walk me through what kind of like prompted you to kind of like start a new business. Okay. And yeah.
Thank you so much for that question. I have different types of businesses, that I've been doing. One of it is, coaching women about finance, about their money. That's one business. I have food business as well, as you know. However, coming to this particular business we're talking about, which is Tines, it's a new business that I'm setting up. And I want you to be able to learn from this because this business is birthed out of my experience, a situation I've gone through in my life. Years back, I have a illness care. I have a particular kind of sickness, which my it's more or less relating to inflammation in my body. And I was introduced to some herbal teas. I had to take so many herbs and stuff like that. And I realized that some particular ones that I'm taking actually really, really helped me. I could see the difference after taking them for a few weeks. I could feel it. I went for medical checkup. I could see changes. And that is what actually brought this new business of herbal products that I'm into. So if you're listening to me, you can start a business based on your experience, you know, because you really want to help people, you really want people to be impacted positively. So that's why I'm starting this business. And as my sister have said, I'm not stopping on that tea alone. It's going to keep expanding. I'm going to be adding to it. But I really want you to know that you can start anything at any age. Because someone for my age, as she said, way over 50, you might be thinking, why am I starting anything new? But I realize that I am going to be helping people. So if we can prevent it by taking these herbal teas, detoxifying our body. We don't need to wait until we become sick. Sure. So that is one of my main reasons of starting this business. And I'm sure you will love it. Maybe I'll invite you all to the lunch.
Yeah, so what she's saying is one of the advantages of being older and wiser is your experiences could be the birth of something new.
Yeah.
Your experiences could be the birth of your wealth building journey or legacy that you can actually leave behind for your children. Everything that you've experienced, everything that you've been through up until today is actually very, very important to the next generation. Now, we talk about building legacies and leaving wealth behind. It's not just businesses that need to be passed on to the next generation. It's also values.
Yeah.
We talked about that in season one, how values are things that we pass over to our children, that we pass over to the next generation. How our spirituality is what we also pass on to the next generation. For you, your health scare experience, right?
Yeah.
Has birthed a new product, a new business, something that you're building out in your 50s, something that your children can probably inherit, but also something that can impact the world that we kind of like live in so that they don't have to go through the health scare that you went through. Or even if they're going through it, something that can kind of like help them basically on their healing journey. It's funny, I was watching a clip there during the week and there was a very young lady, an Indian lady, and she created a new business. Our parents ran an Indian restaurant for a very long time.
Okay.
So curry and all of that. But what she's done is she's turned all of the sauces, the curry and all of that that our parents used to do, and she's turned them into pizza.
Wow.
Like I was like, oh my god. And I remember putting it on my Instagram page that this is how legacies are built. This is how we pass on legacy. So our parents have passed on the legacy of food and culture, and then she's innovated it for the next generation, basically. And this is why we have this podcast. These are the things that we're trying to teach our listeners and viewers, and we're hoping that they are actually learning from things that we've kind of like discussed. Now, I envy people that are in their 50s and their 60s because you guys can be very bold, for lack of a better word to use. You guys say things without thinking about what other people even care. How do you handle social expectations or stereotypes about women over 40? Now, I'm asking you this question, and I know that you got remarried over the age of 40. So I'm expecting some really nice, like, for my viewers, do you understand? And I know that I'm forcing you to be vulnerable. I know you got remarried in like your mid 40s or something like that. Yeah, 45. So you're one person, one woman that keeps defying all stereotypes. So um how actually did you handle that whole situation? Because apart from the fact that you're over 40 wants to get married, I also know that you go to a church community that doesn't allow you to remarry unless your former husband is dead. So I'm sure there must have been a few battles that you had to kind of like fight. One of the things that we're trying to encourage women to do is to break out of the stereotypes that are being placed on them. So um how did you handle that situation? Because I know it can kind of like help my listeners to begin to see themselves as different. Definitely. And also making both decisions.
I think I've actually mentioned this. The way I handle social expectation is I choose not to be boxed into those outdated ideas. You know, I choose my own definition of success. I choose my own definition of well-being. I just make sure those are the things I had to change after I've been 40 years old because it's my life, and as you know, I'm spiritual as well. Yeah, as well. But I just want people to learn from this that the more you care about what people are saying, the more you are not your authentic self. You see, authenticity is back through what you do, through doing what comes from your mind and what works for you. And I was talking with someone recently, I think yesterday. There was a post on social media about somebody that's the husband stabbed to death and she's dead now. The guy ran away. You see, there's so many situational issues that you need to look into critically and not say because some people say this or because you think it's not the value for this community, then you have to keep to it. Meanwhile, at the end of the day, it can lead to your own death. So it's important to know yourself. And that is what I got to do. And I got to redefine all those outdated ideas. I got to bring them in my own terms of what I want to do, who I need to be. And I'm not allowing anything to stop me. This is a very dicey situation. Right? Just as you said, your community, your environment can also dictate on what you need to do, how you need to go about it. But choose yourself first. I told you earlier on, I've used my tactics and just to be choosing everybody else except myself. Now it's time for me to choose myself. What works for me? It may not, suit you, or you may not feel comfortable with it based on your own beliefs or your biases, I will say. But my own belief, my own boundaries, leads to my breakthrough. That's what my own belief is. So, and that's what I do. I just be yourself, guys. No more pretense, please. No, don't let anybody box you into anything. No more pretense in any form, in any way. Be yourself, because at the end of the day, you are accountable to yourself and to God and nobody else.
Sure.
Yes.
So your emotional well-being is also important when it comes to kind of like building wealth and leaving behind legacies for your children. The truth is you have to be whole in yourself for you to actually have like that mind to begin to work on your goals and your visions for your life, no matter what aspect of your life is.
Absolutely.
Now, um, finances.
Okay.
I know you're a
Let's
finance
go
coach.
there.
But don't give me finance coach answers.
Yeah, I am my coach, so
Don't give me finance coach answers.
I hope I
right?
do it.
In terms of building wealth and leaving legacies for your children, right? What does that look like for you? So tell my viewers, what is it that you are working on, that you're building on, that you have, or that you're putting in place? So be it investments, be it your pension, be it businesses that you're going to be leaving behind, kind of like for your children, and what has been your journey to kind of like set that up, and what so I'm asking you so many questions in one
Yes.
question. And what has worked for you? What have been your wins? What have you failed at? And then yeah.
Thank you for that. One thing I want to quickly mention before I go into that is leaving legacy, especially for children, is not only through money.
I know that, yeah.
One thing I do with my children, I'm sure you've coached some of them as well, is for them to understand the importance of building your finance, having financial education. Because if I leave a legacy, let's say I leave billions, and they don't have the financial capability to manage it, that's no more a legacy because they're not going to be able to pass it on. So, first and foremost, leaving a legacy for our children should be we need to work on values that will impute in their life, that will help them through their lifetime, and they will live to their own children and children's children. Once we have this foundation sorted, then we can now talk about the monetary aspects, the finance. Yes.
Sorry to cut her short. And she's actually someone that you come back to that, you have your pension really.
Yeah.
So I ran a mentoring session, I think it was COVID years.
Yeah.
She paid for her daughter to attend. Then this summer, we ran an entrepreneurship, next gen buses for children between the age of 12 to 17. She actually sent her son, who is a fantastic artist and designer, by the way, working in a clothing business. So when she talks about the fact that you have to, like, obviously, when it comes to your children and leaving legacy behind, you have to teach them the right thing. I know that you're somebody that definitely does that because
you're part of their life.
I've had the opportunity to actually work with your children anyway. So go on, so your pension. So
yeah, so now looking critically at investment, because this is one thing I talk more about on my social media platform for women over 40, investing. Because most of us, we don't really understand that we still have time. When you're over 40, you think, oh, anyway, I'll just focus on my children to do this, to do that. All those your dreams, you pack them aside and wishing it on your children, which should not be. It's important to have your portfolio, have a very healthy investment portfolio for the future because you don't want to be a burden on your children as well. As they're trying to leave a legacy, you don't also want to be a burden when you grow old. Make sure you're investing consistently, not once off. Do calculate your net worth, know your assets, your liabilities. My coach can do that for you.
Somewhere else. Okay, we're talking about net worth now. Yeah, go on. Yeah. Title with money 101 and that's what we discussed in season 1. That's fine. So yeah, go on. Yeah.
And from that, you'll be able to actually know what you can invest on and how much you can invest consistently. Don't say because you're 40 or you're 50 or even 60, you cannot do that. That's very, very important.
Then when living to age 100, so
exactly.
Somebody has a long time to actually work.
And if you're in a corporate organization just like me, try and maximize
your pension.
Your pension.
Spoke about that in season
Yeah,
1.
make sure you maximize your pension. Don't think that the amount you are putting in is too much because your organization will have to match it, and that is a plus for you. So if you don't maximize it, let's say you have to give in maximum of 4% of your salary, and your organization is going to double that 8%. Because you think you need that money, and you're only putting in 1%, They're only going to put 2% because they are just going to double whatever you put in. And at the end of the day, when you are going to be taking out your pension, you will be the one that have the short change, because that you are not being even taxed for it at that time you are putting it in. It's being removed from yourself. So these are the two areas I really want us to, especially those that are working. And even if you have your business, set up a personal pension.
Yeah, very important. Yeah.
Set up a personal pension.
Private pension, yeah.
Aside this, you can also invest in startups. If you have the capacity, you can invest in real estate. Even if you can't buy a land or a house, you can invest in REITs in the investment portfolio by, so there are different ways. You can invest in gold.
This auntie is telling us what that portfolio looks like. Oh, that she has money.
Amen. You can invest in, gold. I'm just, trying to explain this as much as I can. I don't want to use some terminologies.
That is the really affect my question to you. Tell us what is in your portfolio. That's my question to you.
Okay, you see what is in my
I see what that's what you're getting to. But yeah, I know she has investments, she has businesses, and she is someone that actually, to be honest with you, she keeps on, like, she blows my mind everything. I'm like, I do someone in 50 something.
Yeah,
she teaches me when I was like 50s and
that means I'm a good student.
You are a good student. So, in closing, right, if you were to kind of like speak to every woman listening who's 40 and above and is feeling stuck, what would you say?
Okay. I will tell you, lady, it's not a limitation for you.
Age isn't a limitation.
It's just a phase. You can feel stuck for now, but that does not determine that you'll be stuck forever.
True.
It's just at this point in time. So if you can have that at the back of your mind that it's for a period of time, then your first step out of that. And secondly, you need to seek for help at the right places.
Sure.
This is one of the problems we have. We always think we know everything. We have the experience. We're at this age. We have done this. We have done that. Please, even a young person of 20 years, you can learn from them.
Actually, she's actually a key example, a good example. Like, I've seen her talk to young people, learn from young people, and that's like, she just wows me. I didn't even think I can be as humble as she is. I won't lie, but yeah.
And that's how you learn. So if you really feel stuck for now, I've mentioned it's not a limitation. The next thing is for you to get help. So many women don't believe in coaches, which is very, very, it can take you from where you are to where you can be in 10 years time within 12 months.
Sure.
If you get the right person. Those are the kind of investment I expect us to be making.
As well.
The right investment that will help us to, improve on ourselves, increase our skills, and get us to achieve more. So those first thing I've mentioned that. The second thing is, get help. And the last thing is start putting yourself out there. You see, there's nothing I help you more than being vulnerable.
True.
Don't care about what anybody says.
True. But that is owning your voice, basically.
Yes, let your voice be heard. Let your voice be heard. Start talking about what you care about. Thankfully, we have social media, different platforms these days, or even in your place of work or in person in your community. One of the things that helped me is when I started this, I started talking to my friends about finance, about getting their act together, about having multiple streams of income. And there was a time one of my friends told me, I've not really had it like this before. And that was like a light bulb moment for me and made me to turn this into like a coaching and start reaching out to so many women because I'll quickly tell you a story. And I know you know the story, but I know we're out of time. I had a very, very good job working in the banking sector at the time. I have a lot of, I would say I have enough, which I think I do. As she mentioned, I love traveling. I put my children in best school. I take them traveling. I never thought of having another source of income. I thought that's it. I'll just keep climbing the ladder. Unfortunately, it got to a time that During the financial crisis,
yeah.
Lehman Brothers, I can never forget. They had to be laying off people, and the first set of those they are laying off is those that are on high spectrum of salary. So you can imagine, just to reduce. So eventually, I got laid off. Ah, I was like, oh, I'll get another job in few weeks. I'll get another few weeks turns to months. I couldn't get a job that I desire. I had to eventually settle for a job that pay way less than what I was getting. It affected my marriage. We talked about it. It affected so many things in my life at that time. And eventually, I was able to start thinking of having another source of income to supplement the income I was having at that time. So I really want you to learn from this. We should not put all our eggs in one basket. Don't put your eggs in one basket at all. This is another advice I want to give to you. No matter how minute it is, get another source of income. Yes, your salary is there. If you know how to cook, if you know how to do it, whatever you know how to do that can make you money, start working on that as well.
Okay, so my final question to you is, as you know,
Yeah.
I love God, so we always defer back to faith.
Yes.
And I'm sure my producer is laughing. So what scriptures, just give us one or two scriptures or analogies in the Bible that really help you, like in your day to day, or has helped you along your journey, basically.
Okay. She's clothed with strength and
Hey!
dignity.
Some people.
Proverbs 31, I think 25. That's my number one scripture.
And you're actually included in scripture. Honestly, if there's anybody that embodies that scripture and actually lives it and actually because you also have a heart of gold. One of the things that has attracted me to you is your heart, to be honest with you. So yes,
Thank you so much. And the other one is Jeremiah 29:11, which says, God knows the plans He has towards me.
I love that scripture.
To give me an expected end. I just want to
I love that scripture as well.
These two scriptures has really, really been more or less my backbone, my foundation. Yes, the Holy Spirit is my helper. Any situation, I have to take it to the Holy Spirit anytime, any moment. So my faith has shaping my values, and my faith has brought me to where I am today. Faith over fear. Definitely you're in a situation that you're afraid, you're even coming on podcasts, you have that butterflies in your tummy.
I mean, my producer is forcing me to do a video podcast, me example on video. I can talk forever,
But not
without me going on video. You guys all know. When they invite me to speaking engagements as well, I tell them I don't want to go on the high pulpit. Can you just give me like
let me sit on the
I'm a very
table and hold the mic.
Here we are. This is season 2. We're trying new things. Like I always, and it's funny because I see people. You do it in spite of your fears. Like faith doesn't mean that the fears are not there, but faith is that total reliance on God, saying, God, in spite of my fears, right, in spite of how big this looks, because I trust you, I depend on you, like I can actually
take over.
Exactly. Wow.
And always when you give it to God, you go and try it. When you give it to God, everything that looks dicey, looks as if it's tangled, everything comes out well eventually. So
wow, what an empowering conversation. I can't even round because I don't even know where to start. So if you're watching or listening, I advise you get your pen, get your notebook, get your journal, and kind of like begin to take your points. Whatever you think that has blessed you or whatever. I mean, there's so much in there that you can kind of like begin to work on and apply to your life, no matter what age you are. To be honest, I don't know where to talk. But then what I'm going to leave you with is you need to own your own voice, own who you are. If you're in your 40s, in your 50s, life is definitely just beginning with you. When we even look at, I mean, if you're a Christian, and like people that God used, a lot of those prophets, they were already, well, our own definition of old.
Yeah.
When, I mean, God started kind of like working with them.
Jesus started his ministry at
even though a lot of information kind of like takes place. But your experience, to be honest, is really, really needed in the world. A lot of us are looking up to the women that have gone like before us to like learn from their experience that we don't make the same mistakes that they've made. I actually pride myself in like pouring out my experience to the next generation. And I'm very vulnerable. I'm an open book. Something that you
Oh
said
my
today, and I'm like, oh,
You are a blessing.
so you didn't just say that.
The next generation, your generation, and generation
honest,
ahead of you.
I'm
You are a blessing.
I don't gatekeep. People know that. Anyway, so we've had. Thanks for coming.
Thank you so much for having me.
Today. Okay?
It's a pleasure.
Very lovely time chatting with you, and I'm sure that our listeners.
Initially, I was like, oh, how will I have a podcast with my coach? What will I say? But you make me feel relaxed.
Now thinking about it, right? I couldn't about actually anybody else. And thanks for being so vulnerable. Thanks for sharing your experience. And thanks for being so open. And I'm hoping that everybody else that is going to be in this my chair this season is going to be open, because that's the one thing that we pride ourselves on. And then you talk about authenticity. Yeah. We want to be as authentic as we can, so that people can really learn. Our vision for this season is to bring everyday people to talk about their experiences, talk about their wins, talk about their failures, so that other people that are really listening to them can really relate and could really
You're doing a great job. You're doing a
learn
great job
from it.
Thank
So
you so
until
much
next
for
time,
doing this.
everyone, keep walking in purpose, keep building your wealth, and remember, you still got it no matter what your age is. And this is me, your host, Dolapo Ola, signing out of this episode. Until next time.
Thank you.